Okay, so we have done quite a lot of thing, right? I mean, we have done quite a lot of thing in this black and white screen already. Let me just increase the font size while I'm staying in the report. Yeah, so let's do that. Mm, let's make it 15. This is big enough. Let's make it 17. There you go. And then I would like to also add a couple of things more. The column header, let's make it 15 and bold. Perfect. Okay, so what we are seeing is, we're limited to the year 2015, right? Let's say I go to the latest year, which is 2017. Okay. Now, if you see 2017, we have data till June, but you'll also see that the Julys are populating. Do you see? July is also populating. Our data in the sales, if you see, Upasana, the maximum date that we have is till June, right? We don't have any data beyond June, but it is still showing uh, data till you know uh, July in the visualization. Can you give explanation why it is? Can you take a guess, Upasana? Would you like to take a guess, Upasana? Why uh, July has no records, ma'am?
It's a null value? No.
We have data till June, so why even July is populating?
No.
No worry, no worries. Don't, don't worry, let me explain you that. I mean, it's an interesting explanation that you got here. Now, let's say I just take the 2017 calendar, okay? And look at what's happening here. Do you see the highest date in the calendar is still December 2017? So once the auto calendar detects a date or detects a record, it automatically, you know, try to populate the data for the entire year. Okay, so that's what is happening here. Now, if you want, you can actually limit it till the data that we have. So it's a easy way to limit this. But I'm just thinking out loud. Can we implement this? Um, I think there is a way you can implement it. So if you see the calendar is already linked, this easier way to implement uh, this over our records. So you have the AW calendar, right? And on the AW calendar, it's been linked to returns and sales. So I'm going to take sales as an example and I'm going to create a calculated column here. In that calculated column, I'm going to actually plug related date from the sales table. Okay, related order date. You've already seen the related function, but in the context of SumX. Let's try it as a standalone. So related, and we are going to say, okay, now the related function is not taking the data. Why it is not taking the data? It's because the order or the flow of the information. Look at this. Only the calendar date is controlling the AW returns and the AW sales. So from the AW returns, there is no flow of information. So we can actually set it to both direction. And now if I just plug in the related function, right, you'll see, should see the AW sales. Let's see. No, it won't work. No worries. It is not working because, our table is a fact table, right? The AW sales. And that's the reason, it's actually not able to pick up everything. But that's totally fine. We'll set it back to our earlier scope because it's a one-to-many relationship. And over here, there are many data, right? So for example, if a particular date repeats many a time. So if you're trying to bring up the column into a table here, it won't make it because it has to multiply the results, right? So let's keep it to single direction, the usual concept. And there's an easier approach to this. Now look at this. July is actually populating for the total revenue blank because the previous month calculation that we have, right? The previous month calculation that we have is extending till June, and even a blank row is getting populated in July because there are no records for us, and it's showing the previous month as June. So what we can do is we can simply hide this row by simply saying that, hey, if the total revenue measure populates a blank, please remove it. And that's very easy to do. So if you look into this visualization, total revenue, let's just keep it is not blank. And do you see? Now it actually shows up wonderful data. Now, just like the previous month, I like to set a target for myself. Okay. So I can actually do that quite easily, setting up a target. What will be the target? Let's say I just set a target of 10%. And on 10%, I like to see where my revenue stands for the current month. Okay. For each month in that case. So you can actually uh, do a quick calculation in here. Okay, total revenue previous month, right? So on the top of this total revenue previous month, I'm gonna say target revenue. Okay, target revenue. And target revenue will be very simple as that. I'm gonna take my total revenue, total revenue previous month, and simply multiply it with 1 plus 0 0.1. Does this make sense what we are doing, Upasna? 1 plus 0 0.1 means 10% and adding that 10% back to this revenue.
Okay.
Yeah, just a simple unitary function.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is my target revenue, or we can just call it as revenue target so that it remains consistent. So I can find all the revenue in one place. Let's make this total revenue target. So we have the total revenue target in place, right? Now, if I just plug this total revenue target into the data, how it looks. Look at the values.
Yeah, we can see that how much mile we need to go more to achieve the
Yes,
target.
against the revenue, right? Now it
Yeah.
has actually added that 10% to the existing revenue per month, right? Existing revenue previous month, and we are adding 10% to that, and that becomes my new target for the total revenue. So this was the gap that we had to cover every month. In the current month, this is the target, this is the revenue that we have earned, and that's the difference, right? So of course, we can actually do a difference, etc., very easily to understand, what is the percentage. But I'll show you a beautiful representation of a graph to achieve the same. Okay, but we're just creating all the calculation here. So total revenue target. Okay, now in a similar fashion, you can also bring up the other uh, concepts as well. So just like total revenue target, you can also bring the total order target, right? So you can create a new measure, and you can say total order target, total order previous month. There's a typo. There you go. Perfect. So it's going to give us the same consistent result. I'm not going to set a target for the returns. It don't make set. I mean, it won't make sense to set a target for the return. But let me show you something really, really cool and magical. Okay, now you can actually change this target, and that's kind of something called a predictive analytics front. Okay, let's say I go to this modeling ribbon, and I have a new parameter here, right? So parameter, the concept has actually come from SQL. And parameter is nothing much but a way of declaring variables. In other coding language, we call parameters are variables, nothing much but variables. So you give some variables and the basis of that variable, uh, you know, the data comes up. This is also available in Excel in the form of what if analysis. Okay, what if analysis, creating parameter, etc., are part of you know uh, delivering predictive analytics. So let's say I build a numeric range, and this numeric range I'm gonna give the target percentages. Okay, it will not be whole number, it will be fixed decimal number between -1 to 1, okay, with an increment of 0.1. So it means, if you divide this number by the number itself, say 0.1 divided by 10, so what will be the result? It will actually sorry, 0.1 into 10. So it will make it a 10% value, right? So that's what the concept is of 0.1, right? So 10, if I'm talking about 10%, what does that mean? 10 divided by 100, so that means 0.1, right? So in that fashion, I'm actually exploring the target by simply multiplying this value. Okay, so if I create this slicer, okay, I have added this slicer here, and if I create this slicer, it actually results into a number line. Do you see? There's a number line. देखिए, talking about the products, and I like to inflate and deflate the product. Okay, so this product price that we have, I want to change it based on the target. Okay, and accordingly, my values will be placed. So I'm not going to sync my slicer here. I can even sync my slicer, doesn't really matter. But yeah, so let's say I plug the product price and I inflate this product price. So let's say I have this product price, and let's say um, I take the average of this product price. Do you see, if I take the sum of the product price or if I take the average of the product price. Let's say I take the average of the product price. These are quick measures, right? We are quickly achieving some real time values. So sum of product price, average of product price, etc. Right? And if you see, it's exactly the same value. Why is it so? Do you see it's exactly the same value? Right? Can you explain the phenomena why the average and the sum are actually the same here in regards to the product? Upashna? Upashna ji, are you able to identify why the sum of the product and the average of the product price and sum of the product price are same to that current row of product price? So I've done two things over here, nothing real rocket science. So I've got the target from the first page, just copied and pasted a slicer here. And the second thing that I did is, I got two columns here. One, I'm just dragging this product price twice. So I'm basically taking the sum of product price and average of product price. And if you see, I'm taking the product name from the product table. Now my question to you is the product price, the sum of product price and the average of product price. If you see, all of these values are no different. They are actually the same value. Can you take a guess why it is the same value in all the three columns? Upashna?
Yes. Yeah, the product price, sum and the average, it's $9 only, bucks.
Yeah, yeah. So why it is the same? Can you take a guess?
Because only one unit is sold.
Not really. We are looking at something you're somewhere close to this answer, but it's not completely the right answer. Let's
Okay.
look at it.
The target percentage.
No, that has nothing to do with the data. At this point, we have not linked the product data. But if you look at the product table, this is a dimension table, right? It means
Yes.
the product does not repeats one particular product, and that's the product. The model won't repeat. So it means if I do a sum of these, right? If I do a sum of this product price, or if I do average of this product price, is going to divide to itself. So it is getting divided by one, and that is getting returned. So which you said that I've sold only one piece is not the complete accurate answer, but yes, to somewhat it is accurate that there is only one product. In product in AW product, we are not actually maintaining how many sales we have done, right? That's coming in the sales table. But in my product table, it's a dimension table. It has unique records, and these unique records, you take an average of this or a sum of this, it is going to return the same thing. Does that make sense?
It's That's why it's returning the same value. It's an
Absolutely. So product price and its data. Okay. Now we understood that if I do an average or a sum, it's going to give me the same data. So good part is that for a measure to function, we need always an aggregator. We cannot just directly plug the column in a measure. You need an aggregator, a sum, a count, or any sort of measure to actually deal with the job. Let me just create a measure. Okay. And on the top of that measure, I'm going to actually create further functions. So let's say I create a new measure. On the new measure, if you look here, let's take average price. I'm going to call this as a revised price because I'm going to actually use the statistics, use this tool to revise this price. So for the time being, let me just introduce you to a concept called variable. Just like parameter is a variable, you can introduce variable. Let's say I introduce a variable called average price. On this average price, I actually give a function. Say I give a function average AW product price, return. Let's return this. So we can actually decide what we want to return. Let's say we want to return the average price. Because a return, if you just simply write the return, it is going to return all the variables that you are, you know, addressing here. We'll be, of course, plugging in multiple variables, but for the timing, let's return this variable, average price. What will be the output? We'll get a average price. Look at this. So if I just plug the revised price, you'll exactly see the same thing coming up. Let's just convert it to dollars, zero decimals. Now what I actually want to do is, something similar. You see the target percentage value, right? So I'm going to actually mark the same thing over here, our selected value. So I'm simply going to say into 1 plus target value. That's the way we did it with the previous month, total order previous month and total revenue previous month.
That was in percentage and that was in number.
And the target percentage value, right? So look at what's happening now. So if you just move this to 10%, okay, now let me just increase the font size of the slider. I know the values are very difficult to read. Make it 15 and slider header also, let's just make it 15 bold. I think the slider percentage you cannot improve much. It remains the same, but that's fine. So if I'm now setting my product price to 10%, you see I'm able to inflate and deflate my price, right? Correct? And I can get my total revised revenue, correct? So look at this function. Let's create a new measure. Total revised revenue. Instead of plugging in related, since we're directly using the measure, I can just directly call the new measure, which is revised price. Right? And even bring the function to one single function. Okay, we have one extra here. Okay, still extra. There you go. Right. In a similar fashion, you can also actually go to the total revised revenue, total. orders now. Uh, so now that we have the revised revenue in place, so we can also have the revised profit, just like total profit. Okay, so very simple as that. Let's create a new measure, and we're going to call that as total revised profit. Which means if I have the total revenue and total cost, so total revised revenue, right? So I have the profits in place. So what does that mean? The impact of my revised price will increase or decrease my profit, right? So if I introduce the total profit here, and let's say I introduce the total revised profit here, okay, and you may see there are a lot of gaps in here, and that gap is kind of quite common because these other products are the product where we have not made any sales, or maybe we don't sell, and maybe these are accessories which we don't sell. Okay, so look at this value. Let me just hide the data here. The profit should not have any blank values. So now you get to see all the products that we actually sell. So if I'm saying that, hey, if I'm revising, now if you look at the total revised profit, uh, let's just convert it to dollars, zero decimals. And look at this, 10 percentage. So $175, 10 percentage. Do you see the actual 10 profit जो भी था उसके ऊपर 10
Yeah.
percentage अगर हम price revise करें, so this is the impact of the profit, right? So this is a small example of how predictive analytics work. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's something that I wanted to create. Now, just like the total revised profit, is there anything else that we are missing? I think we have done everything. All right. It's a good time that we start planting our visualization. Okay. And learning a few more functions. Okay. So I'm going to actually kill all of this now that we understood the entire setup. Let's get rid of all of this. Now you see, we have done all the calculation. It's become so easy for us to, you know, plug all the widgets. So now I have all my functions in one place. I have all my uh, data model in one place, right? I have all my measures that I wanted to create in one place, a huge pile of measures. Let's save this progress of work. And now let's start creating visualization. So the first visualization that I would now you see how quickly we'll be able to finish the pages, with one with all the functions in place. So that's why I keep telling that visualizations are the last part of any tool. So if you see here, we got the uh, tree map. Here, I'm introducing you to a tree map. Let's plot a category over here and let's plot a broad category here. The product category name, and values. Let's plot the total orders. So देखिए आपके कितने orders generate हुए, easily आ जा रहे, correct? Let's also place the commas in here. So when you read now, you get a comma. Now you can actually plot further details here. Let's say you can plot the subcategory name just next to the category name, and you know how the entire process work, right? You just click on it. Maybe let's say I click on bikes. I get to see the subdivision of the bikes: road bike, sales quantity, right? Total sales quantity was nothing much but the sum of the order quantity, right? So total sales quantity, this is the data, this is the return quantity, and this is the data, and this is the total order against which these many pieces are sold, right? So if you want, even you can see the data by next level, subcategory, and by all products. So the highest selling product is water bottle, and you get all the details in here, right? Now if you want to analyze the top 10 products that you have, the top 10 orders, you can do that as well. So category name जो है basically uh, product name, मान लीजिए on the product name I can do a top n analysis, and on the top n analysis, let's say I plug this total order and I say only show me the top 10 orders and apply this. You get only the top 10 orders. Okay, but that we don't need. We'll see better details of top end analysis, but at this point we have the total order, total sales quantity, total return quantity, and we have the return percentage as well, right? So we saw the return rate. This was a function that we created yesterday, this one. So we divided, and we saw that how divide brings the function of no sales into one place. So we also have our return rate in place, okay, just by dividing the total return by total sales. Let me kill this too because I don't need this for my analysis and instead need only these in my analysis. So total orders may, let's go to the cell element in the format, okay, and turn on the data bars. You can go to the effects and you can even see if there are any negative values, then positive and negative values go up accordingly place. But I would like to give a lighter shade to these positive parts so that the numbers are nicely visible. And return rate जो है, right, cell elements return rate, I'm going to give a background color. Look at this. You can also give something like this, maybe lighter shade, and this. So you can also sorted by the highest product having the product having the highest return, which is the Rode 650 red bike. So this bike had 51 pieces that we have sold, of which 12% were returned. So that's a 12% return, which is a huge percentage. So that's something that we wanted to bring in here with the matrix visualization. Any questions here, Upasana?
No.